on a Monday, I think we arrived there, and we invited them all for dinner the next night at our hotel, the Hotel Deborah. And they had the Milchike and the Fleischike kitchen, so we had it for the Fleischike kitchen. And all but two could come. They were working or something. And we had all of them over, and then afterwards for dessert, the other two or three could come, whoever couldn't. And, excuse me. And we went down to the Milchike kitchen because we had dessert down there after about 6 hours. And then the next day we started our tour. We were gone 10 days, and then we came back to Herzliya. And Hinda had the whole family over to greet us on a Shabbat. And we went over there, and we went to the boys' synagogue for Shabbat. We walked over, and it was quite interesting. First time since I'd been a girl that I had to sit behind the curtain where the ladies sat and not with the other place. And it was just something to see these little boys.
Now Hinda has left Israel pretty much for good. She doesn't.
No, she still lives there. She has her permanent address.
I thought she was living here in the valley.
No, she comes and sees her son in Canada, and she comes and sees her daughter in the valley, and they go to Italy to get their shoes made, and to Paris to get their clothes made, and then she goes back to Israel.
The last time I saw Hinda was 1986 when I was living there.
I saw her in 1988, just before your grandfather died, and I have not heard one word from any one of them since then. They have never even said that they're sorry. What can I tell you? That's family on some sides.
Yep.
I feel badly about it, but
So we were talking about.
We digress.
We digress. What else is new?
Yeah.
So we were talking about Zada's side of the family, the Simons, who was
that
Zada's
was his mother, Frida Simon, and she married, and she had a sister. Her name was Chana.
Mimachana.
And Mimachana was 102 years old from the time I knew her.
Yeah.
She died, I think she was 110 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
And she had...
And it was always the Mimachana. She had a title.
The Mimachana. She was the oldest person around. Like, I'm going to be the Bubbie. Because I'm the oldest lady in our family.
The big Bubbie.
I'm the old one. The old one. Oh, well, I don't mind. I wish that Irv were here to be the old one with me, because he's older than me. Anyway, I am the old one now. Let's see, what else you want to hear? Now, in 1920, I think I tried to kill Morrie regularly. Well, I couldn't if he was a baby. I think I waited till he was about 3.
You waited till 1925 to kill
No,
him.
when Essie was born, and I could take him for a ride because my mother was busy. And I begged to take him for a ride. And then I'd say, oh, the baby fell out of the wagon. He's crying. He didn't hit his head too hard. Anyway. Now, he's a doll, and I adore him. And we all went to his grandson's bar mitzvah.
And
it was one of the nicest, most perfect weekends I think we've ever had.
That was something.
In Omaha. I think that even the weather cooperated because we had the sleet and the snow and the ice, and they drove because so that we Californians could, not get killed. And there were 9 of us, which is amazing. And I still remember Lisa's letter when she said she thought that nobody's going to come to Omaha. She's going to serve coffee and donuts to 12 people, and ended up with about 300 and change, which was it was perfect. And then the sun came out on Sunday, and everybody could go sledding, and everything was perfect. That weekend was, I think, one of the most perfect weekends.
It really was nice.
Everything was just worked out fine.
The bar mitzvah in the jungle.
Everything. The safari. We all survived it. What a great idea. Anyway, those things sometimes happen. We've had some beautiful bar mitzvahs, haven't we?
Have you heard from Lisa since?
No. Are you sure you sent that bond?
I gave it to you. I haven't. I'm still keeping the receipt. I'm figuring maybe they lost it somehow. I gave it to you and you put it in the card, I think. I gave you the receipt.
I gave the card to him, but I did not see.
I gave you the receipt.
Not me.
Yes, I did. And we stuck it in the card.
Then you did. Somebody did. I didn't see it.
Well,
I have not heard. I trust that he has gotten it, that he knows who it came from, and if not, we'll hear differently. Audrey and Morrie did call, by the way, to find out how your father was on Valentine's Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they called me and to say Happy Valentine's Day to me and see how your dad was.
Yeah, they called.
When he was sick.
They called when he was in the hospital.
Yeah, because I talked to Essie.
Mm-hmm.
Essie's birthday, your dad's birthday is March 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I must remember to get a card out to him, something really special about living to be 102, 120.
He doesn't drive my mom crazy.
How's he feeling?
He's feeling okay. You know,
scared?
He's in the store, but.
Well, should he be?
You asking me?
Well, I mean, they told him he could go back to work, yes?
According to the doctor, he can go back as long as his stress level doesn't go up. That's like saying you can lead a bull to the bull ring without, as long as he's in charge of the red flag.
First of all, what's your father going to do, sit around and twiddle his thumbs?
Well,
that would be absolute murder.
Well, my mom is saying that maybe this is good for him because, you know, rather than sitting there twiddling his thumbs, he has something to do.
Oh, let me tell you something. The most important thing for a human being to have or be is to be needed. That particular place of business would absolutely fold up without your father's touch. And the day that you say, well, we can replace you, or you are not needed, or somebody else will do it, and go sit in a corner, you will kill your father. That's absolutely indecent. Never, never, never allow that to happen.
Well, I think it's more
anybody. I don't think you do that to anybody.
It's more a matter for him of learning how to handle his stress.
He will. He's no stupid ass. They told him, you got to watch it. He's watching it. He'll get aggravated up to a point, he'll quit. I learned.
Yeah.
Oh, criminally. If I could learn, I don't lose my temper. I was robbed at gunpoint. I've only taken 14 nitro. Really, I've been very good. I was surprised that I've taken so few. Today was the first time I had a problem. When I came in this afternoon, I was really surprised because I think the adrenaline cleaned out everything. Before that, I really thought I was a goner. But everything is relative. You learn. You learn. You know, Steve, I used to live my life where I was so organized that because I had so many outside things that had to be taken care of, and the family, which came first. So the wash had to be done on second, third, the ironing had to be done this way, this had to be done, this had to be done, and Shabbat had to do, and there you are. And I went here, there, and that was the way it had to be. And you know, when I had my first problem, and I was playing golf and talking records for the blind, and being vice president of religion and education for the temple, and teaching bridge, and taking care of 4 kids, and making a husband happy, and doing all these things, I was so indispensable. The whole world would cave in if I did not handle things, and that place was not dusted, and that all those beautiful things that I own were not taken care of properly. And guess what? When I stopped doing them, and for 6 weeks I didn't do them because I was going to die if they didn't do this surgery, and they did it 20 some odd years ago. And I came home, and they told me that I could not. No undue stress. You cannot lose your temper. You must learn to pace yourself. And I looked, and I saw that, my God, they had not dusted under that lamp for at least 6 weeks. And then I got to thinking, you know, if you died, they couldn't have dusted under that lamp for 2 years, and who would have cared? And I learned that it really doesn't matter. That lamp would have been there. I'd have been dead, and who cares? So you dust, you don't dust. So big deal. The only thing that I hate is clutter. I really do. I like to keep picked up as I go because it does drive me nuts. But outside of that, so I'll make the bed. I didn't make the bed. You going to call me Pisher? Call me Pisher. And your father's going to have to learn the same thing. And he will. He's doing very well. I think so. He sounds chipper. He sounds more like himself. And he's aware that he has a problem.
He's walking. He's enjoying that a lot.
Did your grandfather have a heart problem? From the time of when?
His mother died of a heart attack.
But she was 80 years old?
Yeah, and then his father had some kind of heart trouble, but you know, he died. He had the stroke, and then he eventually kind of wasted away.
Well, a stroke is not.
related, I guess,
No.
somehow, to circulation problems, but
But he was not too. He was how old?
somewhere in his 80s.
That's not too shabby.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too shabby.
Yeah.
I have relatives that died when they were 42.
Yeah,
43?
well, my dad had it in the genes because both of his parents, had the high blood pressure or the cholesterol.
Does he have high blood pressure?
Yeah.
He does?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Your father?
Sure.
That's interesting. Is that why he stopped eating red meat and stuff?
Well, that's part of it, but just the stress of the way that he handled stress.
Stress is stress. That is not what's going to give you high blood pressure.
No.
It truly isn't.
I think
salty foods will do it. All sorts of things.
All of that I'm sure contributed, but he's watching his diet very carefully now.
Rose Reikes had high blood pressure from the time she was about 40 years old or 35 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She took medication. She watched her program, and sometimes her
And she
color
lived
would
to
be
about
very
80.
87 or 82 or whatever. She had a valve replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Remarkable lady. And Rose, I thought she was. Did you know Betty Sternhill had a heart attack?
Yeah, you were saying she had a big heart.
A massive coronary, and I talked to Elaine. That's Elaine's mother.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac's wife. Yeah.
How's she
And
doing?
she must be 80. Well, let's see. Isaac was 7. He was 18 and Irv
was
was
18
10.
in
So he's 8
1920.
years. Isaac is 8 years older than Irv.
Mm-hmm.
So Betty must be at least 8 years older. So he would have been. She must be 90 years old, give or take a day or two. Bis 120. And she is really in good condition. And she was so upset when Elaine came in there. I eat properly. I watch my diet. I don't eat, don't do this, don't do that.
Was she at the? Did she come to the bar mitzvah?
No, she wasn't.
The Sternhills and the
They're not related.
Shapiros.
We're not related.
You were telling me.
I am related.
No, you were telling me when we were in Omaha.
I should call her.
That the Sternhills, there aren't too many of them left, to begin with, in Omaha.
Sternhills there never were. There was one lady who came over to me and said, I understand. I've always heard that we're related to the Sternhills. I said, really? How? She said, well, I said, she told me her name. I don't even remember what it was. Anyway, she said, I don't know, we were talking about relationship. And I said, it would have to be Betty Sidman. You're related on Betty's side because you're not related on the Sternhill side. There are none. The only one left was Irv.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's nobody but me.
Yeah.
From that part of the family, there's. I went to the 35th wedding anniversary of Bob Fisher and Dr. Bob Fisher and Harriet.
Mm-hmm.
The only Sternhill.
Now, how are they related?
Bob's father was Dr. Fisher, and he had a sister named Sadie Fisher, Bob's father, and she married Aaron or Harry Sternhill from New York.
Zada's uncle.
The one that came over with his father, the one that was not married. He married a girl named Sadie Fisher, and that she became Sadie Sternhill. And Sadie Sternhill had 6 kids, only 2 of whom are alive today.
And Bob is one of them.
No.
Bob is married to one of them.
No. Bob's father was related to Sadie Sternhill, Sadie Fisher Sternhill. That's how we're related. We're sort of cousins from the other side. And he worked for Kaiser because he came and he asked, Zada and Bernie Sternhill too, because Bernie practiced on Wilshire. See, all of them are MDs.
Is that how Zada ended up in California? There was one person who was working for Kaiser and invited him to work out. Or was that?
No, Arthur.
Arthur.
Arthur asked him to come out here and buy a practice on Wilshire. Because there was one for sale, and Arthur felt that he'd been wasting his time in a small town long enough and he should come to the big city. And he thought that California would be the place for him to go.
Now, Arthur had been out here for some time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He practiced here for quite some time. And Irv, he said, well, he didn't know because he'd have to take the boards before he came out here, and he didn't think he could pass them because he hadn't used basic sciences for many years. And Arthur said, look, I've taken the liberty of entering your name, and if you can pass them, you'll pass them. If not, you won't be the first one that's flunked them the first time. So come out and take a look. So he decided to come out and take a look. And he went to this place that the guy practiced on Robertson, which was the practice that was for sale. And Irv says, I can't practice medicine that way. But anyway, he took the boards. And they asked him what his specialty was. He said, he's a general practitioner. So they asked him one question on medicine, and all the rest were on the most complicated surgical procedures that you can imagine. And he hadn't told them that he'd been working with a surgeon for 12 years. He used to scrub every single morning and work with Dr. Tice as an associate surgeon with him. And he knew he could answer the question to stomach resections, to lung resections, to God knows what. And
So we kind of snookered him a little bit.
no, they asked him questions. A surgeon, they asked him infant feeding formulas.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm a surgeon, a fellow of the American College of Surgeons. You know, I don't know infant feeding formulas. That's pediatrics. He says, you're a doctor, aren't you? Answer the question. Well, obviously he couldn't. He didn't know them. But they asked Irv what his specialty was. He said general practice, and they asked him questions on surgery, complicated surgical questions, and he answered them. So they had to pass him. The surgeon, they flunked. So he got his license to practice. In the meantime, he looked at this practice on Robertson. He says, I can't practice medicine that way.
What was wrong with it?
Well, the guy used, everybody came in, put